I'd like to start with a prayer, and it's a prayer that we don't use enough. It's a wonderful prayer. It says that, it's a blessing that says, blessed be God who is good and does good. And we say this when someone does something that's good for them and also good for other people. So it goes like this. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hatov v'hametiv. So let's all say that together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hatov v'hametiv. The one who is good and does good, causes good to happen. Let's give each other an amen. Amen, amen. I say amen to your prayer, not to my own. All right, we're going to go over a checklist, so please take out your checklist. And no checklist in the world has ever been complete. So the first thing I want to add is the remote controls. So there's one remote control for the Star of David. Would you do the honors? Press green. And there it goes.
She said, let there be light.
Let there be light. And the second one is the ark. Would you like to do the honors where it says on? And that's on. You can only pick a color if you have the app that says hue, and so just leave it on. That's good enough. And the third, which is the blinds. And number 9 picks them all up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, in case you want to pick up a few of them. 9 picks all of them up, and let's just do the example. Press up. It's 9, so press again. See that?
Oh, I feel so powerful.
I know, it's fantastic, isn't it? Shall we keep it up so it's easier to see, or is it too hot?
So you press this, and then 9 comes out.
Okay, 9 up.
Who decides that the conditions are okay for us to open the
The tech people who can see if it's glaring or not. It is now. So we're going to do down. So press down. Very powerful. Okay. So that's 3 remote controls, and they live in that basket. Okay? That basket.
Each one labeled with what it's for?
What?
Do you have them labeled what they're for? Is there in the
Yes.
basket? Okay.
And Jenny always knows, Mary knows, the people who are on tech know in case you don't remember. Okay, so let's go down the checklist. Number 1, the Torah is set to verses in the current week's Torah portion. Suggest you do that during the week. And whoever is going to be chanting Torah usually appreciates getting a picture of that, or maybe do it with them. Sheldon knows this, Anita, Mary, Patty, anybody who has practiced chanting from the Torah knows that, and they want to see it the way it looks in the Torah. We've been using the Holocaust Torah because it's light and it's easy to walk with. If you choose, and you've got the right people, and you want to set a larger Torah, the middle one, you can do that. It's just this is a lot easier, but the writing is very small. Okay, so you set to the verses in the current week's Torah portion. 2, the printed Hebrew verses with vowels and the trope of verses to be chanted or read. It'll look like this. So I print out, and you can choose. You can say, I don't want to do the ones you chose. I want to do the ones I'm choosing. It has with the vowels and the trope marks, the melody, and it also has in the stam font, in the font that looks like calligraphy of the Torah. And so I will supply that, and you get to choose whichever place you want. This Friday, Yona had her bat mitzvah here. She chanted Naso, the priestly blessing, and every year she likes to chant that. So this, I have it out for her there. And here are the blessings. They live inside the ark. If you know you're going to have a lot of people, take more. If it's 1 or 2, just take that. The yads are hung up in the ark on pegs on the right side. Okay. 4, handout for congregants with an introductory reading, Torah verses, and any other information. And the sample is not attached, but they are already out there ready for this. You see them every week. You know what it looks like.
And whoever is putting the books out usually puts a copy in.
Right. Whoever is greeting, like Linda often does, puts those into each of the prayer books, and the template will be available to you. Marissa or Mary or I can help you with that. If it's before I leave and you know exactly what you want for the reading and everything, I'll give it to you. If not, there are others who can help you, but you need to ask for it in advance so they can be duplicated.
What is the deadline on that then?
Well, you don't want to really go past Wednesday.
By Wednesday?
Yeah. I usually work on it Monday and Tuesday and have all the honors and everything ready. If you're only doing one, you can start way in advance and get all the information in advance and be ready way in advance. I do it week to week. Anybody need to look at this, or you all know what I'm talking about? Okay. I usually have one here. I have a backup for everything. Whoever has the reading, whoever has whatever they have, I always have a backup to hand them right away. 5, the bima set with candles. The candles will be in here. Tea lights. Just because you don't have to fiddle with a match. The matches are here, but you want to light that tea light before services. So I even put, light the tea light by 5 o'clock for a 5:30 service, or at 6:30 for a 7 o'clock service. And then that's when you look and check that the lights are on in the ark and the star.
Should have a bowl of water.
And there's a bowl of water here so that you can dunk it. That way you're not blowing, you're not doing matches. It's much more smooth and elegant and easy. Misha Berach healing list, I will give that to you. And then, of course, you can adapt it that week. If you hear of someone, God forbid, who needs the healing blessing, or someone else who says, take me off, you adjust it. And then you add any others, and you make sure that other people get a chance to add their names of their loved ones. Same with the yard site list. Andrea gives us that. She computes it every single week. I do have a copy on Monday, but then there's a final one that she prints out beautifully, and that gets put here by Thursday or Friday.
Well, back to 5.
What?
Back to 5, number 5.
Yes.
For the hostages of Chatufim candle.
I'll talk about that when we go through the whole list, because this is, I hope we don't need to keep counting,
Yes.
but if we do, I have the script right here.
Okay.
And we'll go through that when we go through the actual outline of the service. This is just setup. Now, usually Marissa sets this up on Monday. Any last-minute setups happen on Friday morning or Friday before services. And you just check that it's all there, but you don't have to do it yourself. Marissa does that. You want to have your notes for your drash or whoever else is giving the drash. Any other personal notes for the leader, including names and Hebrew names of people having an aliyah. I do a separate page for the person who has the aliyah. I printed it out. It's in the other room. So I have for the, not just in my notes, but I have for the Gabbai. It's Yosef ben Aharon, your whole, Moshe Tzvi. I have the whole Hebrew name ready in big letters for whoever is Gabbai, and that goes over here with the Torah portion. I have a whole list of my own notes because I have a special reading or chords for a song or an introduction. You will have your own. And so there is an outline, which I'm going to give you after this, for the tech, but it's not enough for the leader. So I usually have my big outline right here, and the tech outline, I call it, next to it, the reading outline, the handout here, and the yard sites here. So I have everything all nice and spread out. Yeah, the outline for people handling tech and slides, and I will give you that for your folder. It looks like this, where it's blank, who's doing what. So put that at the very back of your folder, because I want to go through, in our class today, we're going to go through the choices that you have, and you'll make your own transfer to your own outline This is on the computer. This is for Sybil. And again, Marissa or Mary can help you update yours. All right, the outline for people handling tech and slides should include all names of the people in receiving honors, and I gave you a sample just now, and Marissa and I can help you with that, as well as Mary. Slides for the service. Rabbi and Mary can assist, and they are on the second computer over there, and they would be, shown on the monitor and for people at home. Your outline has to go exactly with the slide. So sometimes there are 34 slides, sometimes 32 slides. There could be a different amount. If you have 2 aliyot, it's a different number of slides. If you have a special reading that you want them to see at home, it's a separate slide. So creating those slides is easy, and we will help you do those. Sheldon's very good at that also, and we have the entire prayer book. What you see here, the Mishkan Tefillah, I now have access to all of those pages, the English, the poetry, every single page. So if there's a page you want, and you don't just want it out in the room, but you also want it as a slide, if you ask for it, we can copy it and put it in. That is a great new feature. And 11, assign Kiddush and Motzi following the service and make sure the mic is on so blessings can be heard in the social hall and on Zoom for those watching online. Usually, like this one is yellow. You see it has a yellow band. That one is green. That one is red. When you walk by, whoever's on tech, you say, for Kiddush, we have the red mic. So they'll make sure that that mic can be heard in the social hall. These are tiny little details that make everything go smoothly. So that is the checklist. Let us look now at the next page, which is the actual, here's my, look, this is my notes for every service. Now, I could do it on a tablet, but I don't trust it, so I actually print it out. And so sometimes you'll notice I'll choose a different melody in the moment, or I'll add a reading. It's all here with backups for Yahrzeit and for other information. So make sure you have your own notes. Okay. Okay. We have been reading and saying a blessing and lighting a candle ever since October 23rd, 2023. And just today I received this wonderful candle holder with the yellow ribbon from Denise, who just got back from Israel. And so I put a tea light behind it, and so it will glow like a yellow light, and I'm putting that here. I wrote out a new version. This you can use, and it says we've been counting the days of captivity. It says today we count, and there's a blank. This Friday it'll be 611. I have it all set up. I configured the numbers. I had 2 pages already filled with numbers, and I just redid it here for this class. 611 for this Friday, and then you end with soon and speedily in our time. Everyone says amen. And after that, that is when you introduce the candle lighting, because after the Shabbat candles are lit, you would not be lighting another candle. So anything you want to do that has to do with lighting a candle, you do before you introduce candle lighting. Any questions about that? Okay, next page. Now this is where we're going to have some fun. Now, I have a stool here because I like to sit and stand. You can stand through the whole thing if you want. But if you want to sit, then take a stool and sit. That's up to you. So let's go through it carefully. For this you're going to need your book. Okay, I just wrote down welcome and blessing. But how are you going to do the welcome? How are you going to introduce Kabbalat Shabbat? Please open your books to page 100. Well, 120's got Kiddush on it, actually. But take a moment and look at page 120, 121, 122, 123, 124, 125, 126, 127. and see if there is a reading that you would like to offer. When you reach it, mark it on this page. Because sometimes I like to do, may the door of the synagogue be wide enough on page 124. If that's the one we want to do, then I'd mark, may the door, page 124. Or, we enter the sanctuary to welcome Shabbat. Within these walls we sit surrounded by numberless generations. Top of 124. So, pick one and just kind of call it out and then mark it on your page, because this is what you would put then into your blank outline. Any decisions? Which one? We enter this sanctuary. So Linda Waddell, were she leading it, she would say, please turn to page 124 at the top and let's read together as a lovely introduction to entering this sanctuary on Shabbat. And everyone would read it together. If you would want this on the slide as well, you would tell Jenny and she would find page 124. They give both numbers, the small prayer book and the larger one that we have, and they give both numbers. So you can do that, and you could say, since they're entering the sanctuary, just leave it in the room and let people just watch. That's always a choice, that the action is really here and people are watching from home. They don't always need to have a slide. Any other choices? Yes, Anita. 126, which one? Oh, that's one. I begin with a prayer of gratitude for all that is holy in my life. God needs no words, no English or Hebrew, but I need them through prayer, etc. Beautiful introduction. Yes?
125, paragraph 2 and 3.
125, the second paragraph?
2 and 3.
2 and 3. Help me to withdraw for a while from the flight of time, contain the retreat of the hours and days from the grasp of frantic life. Let me learn to pause, if only for this day. Let me find peace on this day. Let me enter into a quiet world this day. On this day, Shabbat, abide. Beautiful.
Me too, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, I often use that. Mine is very dog-eared. We offer thanks, O God, for this Shabbat, which unites us in faith and hope, for Shabbat holiness, which inspires sacred living, for Shabbat memories glowing even in darkness, etc., etc. So page 127 at the bottom, you would write that in your outline as part of the welcome. Joe, question? Okay. So I hope you marked it in your notes that on this particular page. Good. Then we have songs on page 128 through 137. I choose different ones every week. If you're doing music, maybe Patty's helping, maybe Mary is singing, maybe Catherine La Taraka has been asked to help with the music. Pick things that you know and like. So there's Hine Matovu Manayim, Maya Fehayom, Yedid Nefesh, Hachama Merosh, Dodi Li, Kol Dodi, Ki Eshmera, Ele Hamda Libi. All of those songs are lovely. You can pick one or two, or none of them, and pick a reading instead. Yes, Anita? Well, we want to go in order. So you don't want ever to ask people to move back unless you absolutely have to. So it's better to go, I want something on 128, and then, or 130, Lechuneranina, and go in order so that by the time you get to Lechadodi on 138, you're not asking them to go back. Mizmor LeDavid, where's the one about Tamar Yifrach? Tata Hamar Yifrach. Right, it's on page 140. So you could do that after Lechadodi and before Shalom Aleichem, because it goes in order. So very good question, but try to go in order. Try not to go back. People get confused when they have to go back pages. So pick some song, pick some reading, pick something that speaks to you. Usually we do Lechadodi and Shalom Aleichem, so you've got 138 and 142, but you have so many more choices. Any other choices or questions up to now, up to Lechadodi? Yes, Joe?
Just a general observation. You know, that you want to be people to feel comfortable, and even if you're nervous, you don't want to be like trying to pretend you're something you're not. You know what I'm saying? And I always make it clear as the service starts that we are a committee that is in your absence, not trying to be the rabbi, but just trying to,
Well, that's the beauty of a lay-led service. People are really rooting for you, and they'll give you a lot of leeway.
Right.
And you say, today it's lay-led. I really would like to do this. My favorite poem is on page such and such. We don't usually do it, but I really like this. Let's turn to page
sure,
such and such.
that's one of the
And you-
advantages of why people want to do it, because
Right.
they get to do it the way they like.
Absolutely, make it clear. You don't have to be perfect. I make mistakes, everybody misses a page or something, but the better prepared you are, the more comfortable you will be to be exactly the comfortable, natural person that Joe is describing. But the important thing is to be organized and have everything in front of you. So thank you for bringing that up. Shalom Aleichem, page 142. There are various melodies, and you might decide to have it read. You might decide to present it in a different way. What is lovely and what helps in the journey of this service, because it's not just we turn to page this, we turn to page this, we turn. No, it's an actual journey up and back down that you want to introduce what I'd call a devar tefillah, a word about the prayer. Now, you don't want to give a scholarly lesson on each one. That's tremendously
That you did
boring and
right
inappropriate.
yourself, and then
But you could just say 2 words about it. Angels. Shalom Aleichem. Page 142, like that. It can be a word, a phrase. You don't want to go into it too much. However, if you have studied it, and that's why the other 3 classes happened before this one, the deeper your knowledge is, the more your delivery will give some depth to it, even if you don't say words. You feel that the learning behind it. So, Shalom Aleichem. And then if you wish to do Hatzi Kaddish, the comma in the prayer, in the Siddur, it's on page 144. I do it once in a long while. You do not have to do it, but I just put it in case you feel like doing it. Then, all of that was Kabbalat Shabbat. That was the reception. That was, hey, it's Shabbat. Now starts with Baruch Hu, the evening prayer. This is now the call and response. Again, you can do it with the lalas. You can do just Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorah. You could say it. It doesn't have to be sung. That's something I'm very comfortable with. You need to do it in a way that's comfortable for you. But you do need to have everybody rise if they are able. Say that in your own way. But you should have permission for people who, a bad back or a leg or something, that they can feel, I'm sitting, but I'm elevated inside, and I'm part of this community. I just can't stand right now. So you never want someone to feel ashamed or pushed or anything. So please rise for the Baruch Hu, if the call to prayer, if you are able. Page 146. And sometimes if you see somebody that's going like this, you might repeat the page. I've had to do that sometimes. You just notice what's happening, and you're real with it. So you lead it, Baruch Hu, and you bend, Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach, and then you signal. Everybody answer, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam Va'ed. Sometimes I say it for myself. It is traditional, when you're the leader, to repeat it for yourself as a person. So you've led it as the prayer leader, the Shaliach Tzibur, but then as Alicia, I need Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam Va'ed. So sometimes I say it quietly under my breath. That is traditional. And sometimes I just go right into the English, but I note that I haven't said it, and I say it for myself inside. But you should know that that's traditional to say it again. All right, English, 146. Then we go to the evening prayer. Now look at your prayer book. On the right, Hebrew, Baruch Atah Adonai, the Ma'ariv Aravim. On the left, praise to you from whom the evening flows. Beautiful poem based on the Hebrew. This is an hour of change. Within it we stand uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Beautiful poetry. If you would like for the evening prayer to offer the translation or a poem, pick that page. And right now make a decision just for fun. Are you going to do it in Hebrew? Are you going to sing it or say it? Are you going to do the basic translation, which is on the slide, page 148, or a poem? In which case, you either ask for the slide to be added, or you say, skip slide. because what they show will not be the same as on page 149. The slide we have right now is the traditional 148 Hebrew and translation. You understand that? Be consistent. Choose creatively, but then communicate that when you do your final outline for tech, so that they have that information. They know you're going to be doing a poem, and it's not going to be on a slide, and sometimes you even say that. Sometimes I say, page 148 and the slide, or I might say, a beautiful poem at the top of 149. It won't be on the slide, so just listen if you're home. Give good directions. Okay. Anybody who could imagine themselves using one of the poems on 149 instead of the Hebrew or the English on 148?
Yes.
Good, good. So make that note. Make it recognizable, but your own. Okay. Then we move to Ahavat Olam. Again, the same thing. Hebrew and English on page 150, and two beautiful poems on page 151. As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Or wisdom and wonder, passionate instruction, story and symbol. Perhaps never before has that been uttered by a person in a service, and they would just love it. It would spark open a new meaning of Ahavat Olam. Anybody here think they might be doing that? If so, mark it down. And you don't have to do it today, but I wanted to go through this exercise so you see the beautiful resource that this book is, this beautiful Siddur. So as you go from Ahavat Olam to Shema, you guide us into it. Like through the gateway of love, we enter a place of connectedness, or we now move to truly listening and feeling that God is one. Whatever introduction you want to make, but make it real for you. Okay? So Shema, page 152 and 153, the slide looks just like that. And from that, we move to the other part of the love sandwich, Ve'ahavta. And enough people know it that it's really nice to chant this in the Torah trope, Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha. You do not have to. You might decide you shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, soul, and might, as it's written in 154, or the poem on the left, which is a freer translation, but it's not on a slide. You have a choice, but communicate it well.
Rabbi, you could actually ask for the slide.
You could ask what?
For the slide. You could
Yes,
ask.
you could ask for page 155, love your God with every heartbeat, with every breath, etc. And it could be a slide added for that purpose, for that service.
But you have to do it ahead of time. You can't just be making it up and expecting.
Absolutely ahead of time. Underline twice in bold. Now, if you do it in the moment, it's possible, but there will not be a slide, and you need to say, there won't be a slide. Today we're going to read the beautiful adapted translation on 155. Please open your books, you know. Then it's just for the people in the room, but just be clear.
Also, we're trying to...
Use your mic because it's being recorded.
Sorry. Also, we're trying to do it in a way that people who have come here for the first time won't be like, what the hell is going on? You know, that they'll recognize some sort of structure
Exactly.
and feel welcomed because
Right.
of that.
Right, so you want people to feel welcome, so you have some touchstones that they, oh, I know that, oh, I can sing that, oh, I've heard that, and oh, that's kind of interesting and new twist. How beautiful. You want a combination of both.
I've heard that said many times when people come here.
All right, so balance. English, yes. 7. Yeah, you want to say something about miracles, or gratitude, or a special moment, or any other element in Michamocha in addition to the page number. Because we're not just skipping from one page to another, we're going from one emotional prayer sense to another realm. So what is important to you about Michamocha? Give it to me in a couple of words. Let's try it right now. Mary.
That miracles happen all the time.
Miracles happen all the time. And here, with Michamocha, on page 156, we remember the miracle of crossing through the sea on dry land. Da-da-da-da-da-da, or any melody, or just saying it. Any other way you might want to introduce Mi Chamocha? Because we're going to all have practice in a minute. We've got plenty of time. Any other introductions to Mi Chamocha?
On the top of page 157 is brief reading.
Yeah, standing on the parted shores of the history, we still believe that what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, which is great, we just did Shavuot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get there, to get from here to there, except by joining hands and marching together. So, what a beautiful introduction. It's right in your book. You do not have to have somebody say it. You can just say it offhandedly, or you can say, as we read at the top of 157, we are always going through Mi Chamocha moments. But this idea of carrying you from one to the next, and from one to the next, and from one to the next is extremely important and smooth, and it gives confidence to people that you are being guided. We are tour guides of the soul. Just like when I was a tour guide in Israel, just like I was a tour guide in the Skirball Museum. You just don't say, now we're going to that case, or now we're going to move over here. If you think that's wonderful, wait till you see. You want something that pulls us from one place to the next, from one height to the next, from one logical moment to the next. Okay. Mi Chamocha is very up. And then we have Hashkivenu. These two pages are fabulous because you have Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'Shalom in Hebrew. You have Grant, O God, that we lie down in peace underneath, and we have that as a slide. And again, on 161, you have two beautiful, beautiful poems. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. I mean, beautiful readings. So maybe take a moment, read those to yourself, and decide if you'd like to use one of those in place of Hashkivenu. And when I say in place of, I mean it has the same emotional and intellectual impact, just in a different way with different words. So is there anybody here who might want to give us a place to rest, or let there be love and understanding?
Let there be love and
Okay, mark that down. Okay, well, mark it down in your little, in these outline that I just gave you, because then it'll be easy to transfer that to the outline that you're going to be filling out. If we're running a little late, or if I did a lot of singing at the beginning, I don't do Vishamru. But if I went straight through Lahadodi and everything kind of plain, then I do Vishamru as an introduction to the Amidah. Again, that's one thing that you can choose. You can read the English. Those who keep Shabbat by calling it a delight will rejoice in your realm. You could do We Are a People in Whom the Past Endures. There are 3 beautiful translations and poetic phrases. You can say Vishamru, whatever appeals to you. Is there anything on the page that strikes you right now?
bottom of 162.
Bottom of 162. Those who keep Shabbat by calling it a delight. Okay, lovely.
For me, it's the bottom of 163, Echad Ha'am.
163, which one?
The bottom, Echad Ha'am. More than the Jewish people has kept Shabbat. Shabbat has kept the Jewish people.
Good, I'm glad you
Under that
mentioned
one.
that. So under the line is commentary and quotes. So it's not a translation or a poem, it's simply another thought, a quote, and that is a beautiful one. So that's Echad Ha'am. More than the Jewish people has kept Shabbat, Shabbat has kept the Jewish people. I often say that, and you can look below the line, literally, for a citation, where it comes from. You could say from Exodus, or from Isaiah, or from wherever it is, or use those comments underneath. I'm glad you brought that up. All right, so now we come to that highest place, the tefillah, the Amidah, on 164. And again, you say, please rise if you are able. You give some sort of permission, and try to give directions before, like for L'chadodi. On the last verse, we rise and face the door, as the Kabbalists did, to welcome Shabbat like a bride. You know, you want people not to be surprised by a last-minute direction. You try to offer that in the beginning. Gloria brings up a very good point. Look at this beautiful introduction on 165. Pray as if everything depended on God. Act as if everything depended on you. You might just say that. You don't need to say the page number. You just say it. And then you say, page 164, we begin the tefillah.
Right, maybe that's the best way to do it, is to do that beforehand and then.
You know where it is. You don't need to guide their eyes and then have them be confused where to go back to. So if it's on the same page, just offer it, say it. It's short, it's beautiful, it appeals to you. It's a beautiful introduction, and some people whose eyes are sweeping around will see where you are. It doesn't matter. You have given it. You're bringing, yes.
In Minion, I don't have a mic. That red one?
There's the yellow and the red ones. Right now, they're both muted.
Okay.
So this is something good to know. When you press in the button there and it turns red, then it's hot. It's on, okay?
Well, this one's not turning red, might not be on at the bottom. Rabbi's checking. There it goes.
Okay, in the morning minyan that we do on Wednesdays, before we get to the tefillah, we take 3 steps back and 3 steps forward. Here in the synagogue, people don't have the room to take 3 steps back, but I saw it at the bottom of page 164, would we still take 3 steps forward?
In places that are crowded, I've seen people do like this. So they hardly move an inch, but they note those 3 steps. So you certainly could guide them to do that. Say, we remove ourselves from this space by taking 3 tiny steps back, and then forward, 3 steps forward for the Amidah into that new realm where we can speak to our highest guidance. However you want to say it. So if you'd like to try that, go for it. These are really good things. And it goes from 164 to 180. I usually say that so people know sort of the extent of the ending. And take a moment to do your own prayer. You might take your talit and put it over your head. You might just whisper. But really take a moment, even if it's like 10 seconds. 10 seconds is very long. Find one phrase where you, the leader, have a moment of private prayer. I invite you to do that. Don't only be leading, but pray yourself. So for instance, what I do, you do a bunch out loud. I have taken to saying out loud with everybody, page 173 at the top. You pick whichever one you want. Disturb us, ruffle us from complacency on 173, or you might want to do Ritzeh, or you might want to do Linda's favorite, Lo Yisagoy al Goy Cherev. I could hear you think. I know you. But be logical. If it's way at the end, you might want to go back and say it at the end. Choose how you want to go silent. But during your silent prayer, pick something. Let me see what it is I do. I get really into the modim, into the thank you. When I get to modim, I bow, and I think of something I'm grateful for. And often I'm grateful for this congregation and this opportunity to be a leader. It's a very humble moment. It's a very sweet moment. And like, Kol HaChaim Yodu Chasela V'Hallelu Et Shimcha Be'emet. And you might do it in English or in Hebrew in your heart, but I take a moment to really dive in. Sometimes I like to read The God of Goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life. Allow yourself a moment. It will be felt, and you don't have to be on all the time, but you do have to be present all the time. There's a difference, okay? If you want to do Shalom Rav, I know that Susan Dolan likes that. I hope Susan is going to see the recording, and that's one of the questions she had. Page 178, Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Or you could just say, grant abundance peace. Use the beautiful resource that is this Mishkan Tefillah. Lo Yisagoy al Goy Cherev. I keep the rainbows in here in my book. Look. from when we have Noah and I have the rainbows. I have rainbows right on that page, and it always makes me smile when I get there.
I have them on my refrigerator.
Okay. And then you catch up, and I usually look at the slide when I see that it's already at Yehiyu L'Ratzon. I take a moment, and I really think, may the words of our mouth and the meditation of our hearts that we just did be acceptable, be returned, be taken, be heard. And I either say it or sing it, and you do it any way you like. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, Adonai, our rock and our redeemer. You might turn it into first person plural. You can speak for everybody. Yes, Linda?
And we can be seated.
Yes.
when we say it.
Yes. When people are done, traditionally, they would do it by themselves first. Then we'd go back and there'd be repetition. We don't do that. We just go through it once. But when they're done, they can sit down. And if they don't feel comfortable sitting down till you say Yula Ratzon, that's okay too. So there's a little bumpiness there. But at the very end of that, you show your hands. You may be seated. And then we come to the Torah service. You might want to do Oseh Shalom Bimromav instead. That's a very nice way to come out of it. You might want to, we finished counting the Omer, so anyway. At that point, I wanted you to know why I have my book over here. Because in a traditional congregation, that's where the ark would be in the center. Ours is on the side. So I don't feel comfortable turning like this, which traditionally the leader would turn their back and be doing the Amidah for the ark and for Jerusalem and for the east. So I sort of turn to the ark, and so I have my book to the side, and that's my compromise. You'll do it the way you'll do it. But at this point, because we're going to need to put the Torah here, this is when I move my book and I get ready to leave room for the Torah, and I do that right before I call somebody to please introduce the Torah service with a reading. And I remove the attention from myself, Jenny, or whoever is on the computer and the camera moves the attention to the bima. This is the moment where if you need a tissue or water or something, you can take it. Be aware of the camera. You don't want to be, blowing your nose and everything when the camera's right on you. But when the camera's over there, you can do that. So have it behind you. This is the back stage directions. Okay, so Torah service. Announce who will open the ark, who will walk in procession with the Torah, who will serve as Gabbai, who will chant from Torah, and all of that should be marked as it is on your outline. I have the outline all ready for this week, and here I put something different. I put, I'm the Gabbai, and Yona is chanting, chanting Yona Sahlberg, exclamation, slide 22 and the handout. So you can see right away who's doing what, where is the action, and where's the slide, and where is it on the handout. 364 is the ark is opened, and you wait till they start to open it. Ki mitzion tetzeh Torah. Again, if you don't want to sing, you can say it, but people pretty much know that. And you come over here and you stand next to the person holding the Torah, and you say, on three things the world stands. And I wrote it out for you. You asked me to write out a few things, so I did. Torah, study, avodah, prayer and celebration, gemilut chasadim, acts of loving kindness, and then comes the procession. Because we don't have the choir, we're only doing Al Shlosha Devarim as a song. With the choir, we do Romamu, we do Lecha Adonai, we have more songs. The Torah blessings in large print are laminated. You see them right here. They are stored in the ark. They're placed on the bima ahead of time. And the name of the person honored with the aliyah is placed next to the Gabbai. And I have it here for Yosef. You have the aliyah this Friday, Joe.
7 o'clock, right?
7 o'clock is the service this week, yes. The blessings are also in the Siddur on page 368. I have not been announcing that just because everybody wants to pay attention to the person here who's actually saying it. There might come a time when you want to show attention to that, but I wanted you to know that they are on 368. There we go. You see the blessings, Baruch Hu Adonai, and then the Baruch Adonai Noten HaTorah, the first and second blessings right there on 368. However, there's also alternative blessings for reading of the Torah, quite interesting, on 369. Take a moment to look at it. Holy One of Blessing, your presence fills creation. This Torah is a teaching of truth, whole and balanced, and from it comes eternal life for the people who embrace it. Blessed are you, merciful one, who gives this Torah to the Jewish people. That would be the second blessing after. How beautiful is that? You might, on some occasion, have someone who says, I really want to have an aliyah, I don't know the Hebrew, I really can't do it. Well, that's a possibility. They could do that non-traditional one. It would have to be a very special occasion, because there's certain touchstones, like Joe says, if someone comes all the time, that's what they're expecting to hear. And this is a little bit shocking to have it so different. But I wanted you to know we have it. I bet you never noticed. Then you thank the people having an aliyah. And this is important. Joe, do you have to leave? Okay. You thank the person having the aliyah, and the traditional blessing for the person having an aliyah is on 370. It's basically a different Misha Berach. It says, may the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, etc., who have come up to the Torah in honor of God and Torah, may the person be merit from the Holy One of blessing, protection, rescue from any trouble or distress, and from any illness, minor or serious. May God send blessing and success in his or her every endeavor, together with all of Israel, and let us say amen. I have never used that particular blessing in Hebrew or in English, because I prefer to channel a blessing in the moment that connects those verses with the person standing in front of me. But that is something quite particular to me. Do not feel you should do that. It's enough to thank them or make a comment like, it's so wonderful that you could come up today. Thank you. It's enough. You do not have to offer a blessing. That's something that some rabbis do, and some congregations they don't. I mean, I watch services all over, and sometimes they just nod to the person and have the next aliyah. So I wanted to get you off the hook for that.
Minyan, they usually ask the person after that blessing is
Why they're
read,
up there.
What are you celebrating?
Right. So in some congregations, there's a reason why they're up. For us, it's they have a birthday, an anniversary, they're on the board, they come all the time. There's some reason, but it's a very nice custom if to say, why are you having this aliyah? But if you ask that here, they'd go, I don't know, they asked me. I don't know, the rabbi called me. So you don't want to be deer in the headlights kind of a thing. So you might mention it. It's so wonderful you could come up for your anniversary. It's so wonderful you could come up that we know that you just had a new grandchild, whatever. Okay?
I have a question.
Yes.
On page 370, if we choose to use that in English, it has room for the people's names. Do we continue to use their Hebrew name?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. So the name in Hebrew, first you call them up by their name so they recognize it's Addie. But then you say, Aviva, what is it? Bat, and your Hebrew names, whatever. You give the parents' Hebrew names, and that is something that you prepare ahead of time, that you ask. I have a whole folder in my office with all the Hebrew names, and I can copy that and send it as a file to Mary. And every once in a while I update it. I will do that. Will you remind me? Okay. Very good. Now, whoever is doing the drash, you call them up. If it's you, you try to keep it to about 5 minutes, because we want the service to go from 5:30 till not longer than 6:40. If you feel you're rushing, that you're running late, you don't want it to end at 7. I mean, that's just not kind. It's not expected. It's called a tircha letzibur. It's a intrusion for the congregation. So you cut something else. Sometimes I cut the last thing. You can never cut someone else's part, but you can cut your own. Don't cut someone else's part. Cut your own. All right. So give the drash, make it personal, make it scholarly, make it funny, make it relevant, but make it real. And don't go on too long. Healing prayers. The list will be provided by the rabbi. Add additional names. and invite people to add names. And the Misha Baruch is found in the book on 371, as well as the inside back cover and on the slide. There's a special blessing for Israel, which is on the handout. I have several different prayers for Israel, but if you want to use the one that's on the slide, I'll give it to you on the template of the handout. Again, you can use a different one. And then remember the simchas, and the birthdays and anniversaries are provided, and you can add any others you know about. Invite someone up for Hagbah if it hasn't been assigned earlier. I don't put a slide there because the action is so important that anyone watching from home shouldn't be looking at a slide, they should be looking at the Torah. That was my decision. But then I go to 374 in the middle for Eitz Chaim Hi, and you wait till Hashivenu Adonai, the second part of Eitz Chaim, to have them return. And if the person forgot, the one who opened the ark forgot, you make eye contact and you go like this. And they have to be watching, or else I go, Gloria, it's your honor today. Come on up, open the ark. But you do it quietly.
So you don't indicate on these notes that when the ark is open, we stand. But we're going to do that with Ki Mitzion, page 364, and then we're going to do it again with Hagba'ah.
Great.
Right?
So anytime the ark is open, you invite people to stand if they're able. So not just the Baruch Hu, but anytime the ark is opened, it's a sign of respect. Thank you. Then Sybil or another board member comes up for announcements. And on the text, it says, introduce so-and-so. And then so-and-so does the candle lighting or the announcements, whatever it is. So there's a room here to write the name twice. Jenny added that, and I thought it was a good idea to introduce so we know what's coming. The people know what's coming. Let's see. Now, look at page 592. Oh, I did Aleinu, Rise for Aleinu, page 586, okay. And there are some other ways to do that, but read through it and you decide. Page 592, look at these beautiful readings. There's a reading on 592. There's another reading, in nature's ebb and flow, God's eternal law abides. On page 593, the light of life is a finite flame. On 594, why should I wish to see God better than this day? I see something of God in each hour. You have to look at all of these possible readings, 594, 595. It's hard to sing of oneness when the world is not complete. That's the one that the choir sings. Yesh Kochavim, there are stars up above. Look at all of these beautiful ones. 596, when cherished ties are broken, we sometimes use that. 597 is completely beautiful and it's very short. Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth. Our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, etc. You might want to use that one, 597. But use something. Sometimes if I think we're kind of running late or I just think we've gone on long enough, I use something very, very short, like after, where do I have it? After darkness, light. After winter, spring, such a thing. So I have a very, very short reading, but it changes the mood. And it prepares people for something that's a little bit more solemn. So pick something. Shorter is better at this point. Anyone want to call out which thing they'd like between 592 and 597? Any reading that really strikes you?
I had two, 594.5 and 595.7.
It's a fearful thing to love when what death can touch. It's a beautiful one. And the other one, number 7 on 595? There are stars up above. It's a translation of Yesh Kochavim, which is a beautiful poem. Yes, Anita.
I have some of my own poetry.
You have a beautiful poem that you
I
could
have a
use.
couple of poems, yeah. And also, I like to introduce the idea that this is written in the future because often when we've lost somebody, it's very difficult for us to bless God. And we hope, because it's written in the future, in Aramaic, but in the future, we hope that at some point in time, we will again be able to bless God.
You might want to say that, especially if you know there's somebody that you've got several people on the list that are within the first month. If it's all yard sites from past times, it might not be the perfect time to introduce it because probably they've made their peace already. But especially, sometimes it's the first week, it's the second week, it's the third week, it's the fourth week, it's within the 30 days when people are still railing against how could this happen, and I don't want to say anything about praising God, I'm angry, then that might be a good introduction. And I know it's very personal to your coming to terms with Kaddish as a praise of God, where you were still in that place where you couldn't say it, and you found out that since it says Yitgadal, may it happen in the future that this happens, then you could be whole with it. It might be a little bit of a difficult lesson or not necessary if it's everybody having yard site of people who passed a long time ago. Does that make sense? Okay. So you asked me to write something about Kaddish. It's on your worksheet here. Read the names of the list provided by Andrea after you've given your introduction. Invite anyone else to add names of those who have passed away either recently or around this date, and then you add, "It is our custom since the Holocaust that we all rise, since there are so many whose lives were cut off with no one to say Kaddish for them. Kaddish Yatom, the mourner's prayer." You see, I really typed it because you can see there's a typo? Okay. All right. Is on page 598 or the slide, but it says not one word about death. Rather, this comforting prayer reminds us to dedicate ourselves to the values our loved ones at their best wished to live by. And sometimes I say that because I know people had very difficult relationships with a father or a mother, and they say, why should I say a prayer? You know, this person abandoned me or whatever the thing is. But I like to say the values that they had at their best, or they wished to live by or something, and that softens it. I just wanted to let you know that because I had a whole discussion with other rabbis about it. Then you read the prayer or you ask somebody to read it. There might be somebody who's really good in Hebrew and they've had a recent loss and it's an honor to let them lead it. So you can lead it or ask. And then you close with, may the one, it should say, may the one. May the one who creates harmony and peace on high bring peace to us and to all who mourn, as together we say amen. Of course, you can change that anyway. I just gave you a kind of general way to say it. Then your closing song is either Adon Olam, page 625, or Ein Keloheinu, page 626, or any other song. I often change it up, Yerushalayim Shel Zahav, or Call of My Brothers and Friends, I'm going to do this week. Sometimes you want something else, or a reading again. Or you skip it entirely if it's already 6:45.
I have a question. Sometimes Yismahu is done, and I'm wondering.
Microphone, please.
Yismechu hashamayim, Yismechu hashamayim.
What's the other? There's another option besides.
Is it on? Hold on. Go ahead.
There's another option for some holidays, and I don't remember.
Well, you don't
you
have
know.
a holiday right now,
Right.
but you can always choose one.
It's
And all the holiday songs are in the back. That should be your biggest problem at this point. I'll help you. Catherine will help you. We've got if it's near a holiday, I'm here. But if I'm not, it's a good question. How do you change that closing song? Sometimes you do it to the tune of the holiday that's coming up. Sometimes you just pick a different song. So, right now, what I'd like to do is have you look at your outline, and some brave soul come up and welcome everybody. I'm going to move my prayer book to the side. You can turn to any page in your prayer book, and we're going to do a few different sections. Anyone can volunteer. This is the lab part, where you come up and, first of all, let's have a welcome to the congregation and get us ready for the candle lighting. Again, you don't have to do that candle lighting introduction that I do at all. Do your own introduction. So, who would like to, going back to the beginning of your outline, who would like to take one of the mics and welcome us? I'm going to be a Jew in the pew now. You're all going to have a chance to do something, so just somebody start. You made eye contact with me, Gloria, so you're on the, go on.
Yeah, it's Yigdal, and I know it's read, it's sung certain times, and I
Microphone, please, Gloria.
Take a mic and stand up and welcome us. Oh, Yigdal, that's, yeah, the Shabbat morning, end of the service.
oh, that's what it is.
Okay, so grab a mic, stand up, and welcome us. You can take your book, welcome us, and get us, we just walked in.
Shabbat Shalom, and welcome to the Jewish community of Sedona and the Verde Valley. And we'd like to welcome all of our members and our guests who may be coming here for the first time. We will acknowledge your presence later in the service.
That's great. Okay, introduce the candle. You can skip the one about the counting right now, but in some way introduce somebody who's going to do candle lighting and say something about that.
And to welcome our Shabbat, we will be doing candle lighting, and I'll call the person who's
Okay,
ever
and you
doing
have
it,
to
but
make
we
sure-
I skipped this one. Which I
What's
shouldn't have
wonderful
done.
about Gloria is that she wants to include everybody, but if you go like this, they can't hear you. So the mic has to go with you.
But
Actually,
if we're leading, it's going to be right on us.
actually, Rabbi?
Yes,
I
you will.
think for anyone who's leading the service, we have another mic, not the rabbi's mic, but we have another head.
You'll be mic'd on wireless, but for right now, it's
Okay.
good to get used to how to use a hand mic as well. You do want to move around, but the mic has to be part of where your mouth is.
Okay.
Okay,
Is that better?
that's
As
perfect.
I look at
Yay.
everybody?
All right, so introduce candle lighting warmly with a smile. Introduce somebody who's going to come up for candle lighting, and maybe introduce one of those poems that you liked.
Ah, if I can find my paper. It was 127 at the bottom. Thank you.
Yeah, put your stuff up there so you have all your notes.
127. See, this is what happens when you're not prepared to be called upon.
That's okay. Everybody's going to be in the hot seat. That's why I asked you to mark down what pages you like, so that when I call on you, you'll have it.
I'm sorry. I was looking up Yigdal. Okay, so before we start our service,
Mike?
Before we start our service, I'd like to remind everybody that we still remember the hostages, and we have a special candle up front, and I'll be lighting that before our Shabbat candles, and it's considered a mitzvah to remember our brothers and sisters held hostage in Gaza.
Okay,
and
you don't
we're-
have to read all that now, so
Okay.
you've got it right there, and you would do the count. You would make sure you have that in advance. Okay.
And then the next part is calling up somebody for Shabbat candle lighting. And for that, Addie, would you please join us on the bima for candle lighting of the Shabbat candles?
Great, and you give them enough time. She comes up, she lights candles.
Give her a warning
And
she needs a
just so
warning
you know,
beforehand.
the blessing is in Hebrew and English. I usually put it diagonally so that the mic that's here, they can look here and they can also be into the mic and looking at people, and that goes in here, in the pulpit. That's where that lives. Okay, thank you, Gloria. Appreciate it. Gloria, thank you. All right, so the next part is someone introduce some part of Ahavat Olam going into Shema, going into Ve'ahavta. Who would like to do that? Some of you marked, would you like to do that?
What page is that?
Ahavat Olam, 150, around 150.
Yeah, we missed the
Yeah. I'm just going to do different parts. You're going to, I know that you know the prayers. I just want to see how you're going to move from one to the other. So we're going to move now to, actually, Baruch Hu. All right, you want to try it? That's on page
I'll keep it by
138
my
and
mouth.
139.
Yeah, I'm not used to it. We are now going to do L'Chadodi, which is on pages 138 and 139 and on the slides. And we're going to do verses 1, 2, then 5. And on verse 9, we are all going to rise and face the door to welcome the Shabbat bride.
So the last the word I missed, bride. Very often, in English, we're used to dropping that last word, so you have to make sure that we hear the last word. Shabbat, Shabbat bride.
The Shabbat bride.
Ah, now I heard it.
Okay.
And then L'Chadodi. Good. All right, while you're up there, why don't you introduce Baruch Hu, the call to prayer.
Would you all please rise for the Baruch Hu? It's on page 146 or on the slide.
Okay, so it's call and response so that people know they shouldn't do the first line. And I have a bad back. Do I really have to get up?
Yes, would you all please rise if you can, if you are able, for the Baruch Hu, which is on page 146 or on the slide, and it is call and response.
Thank you. See how many things you have to remember? It's a lot. All right, I'm going to go through. Who would like to show their choice for Ma'ariv Aravim, how you want to show the evening prayer? Patty?
I'm not sure how to introduce it, but this is an hour of change.
Wait a minute.
We're
We've just done Baruch
from
Hu. Everybody sat
Baruch
down.
Hu.
How are you going to get them to this is an evening time of prayer?
Now that we've been called to prayer, we want to take a moment to reflect. This is an hour of change. Within it, we stand uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sisters, or cross over? This is the hour of change, and within it, we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother or sister, or cross over? Baruch atah Adonai havarim aravim.
Ha'ma'ariv. So you made an interesting choice, Patty. You liked a certain poem that had the impetus of the evening prayer, but you didn't say that was what you were doing. Right. So as a congregant, I was going, is she just introducing something? Is she reading something nice? Do I have to be reading? Is this the prayer? I didn't know where I was. So if you make a choice, then say, for the evening prayer, there's a lovely poem that expresses this time of change. It's on page blah, 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 and it's not on a slide. Perhaps you'd like to read it with me, or I will read it for you. So let us know what your intention is.
Okay.
Good? Okay. So the choice, you made the choice. Now you have to situate us so we know why you made this choice. Are we reading it together? Are you reading it? Is it on a page? Is it just something you came up with? Got it? Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Microphone, please.
Well, we understand that you can assign it to someone else.
Right, but I'm saying, there's an opportunity to maybe involve 15 or 20 people in the service if we have it planned out ahead, so you can make that as a reading?
Absolutely. So you can read it, or you can say, for the Hashkivenu prayer tonight, I invite Sybil to come up and offer this. You can all follow along on page such and such. Certainly, anything we're doing here can be assigned to someone else to involve more. That's clear. But always with the parenthesis that you're the leader and you're helping us know why the next thing is happening. Okay. Thank you for that, Joe. Ahavat Olam. Anita. can always use this. Oh my God, it's 4:20.
Patty has helped us change from daylight into the evening of Shabbat. And now we're going to enter into what our beloved Rabbi Magal calls the love sandwich. On page 150, this time I'd like to chant it in Hebrew. Ahavat Olam. Ahavat Olam. Beit Yisrael.
Good. Go to the end of that because we're almost out of time.
Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. And with that, we enter into the prayer of our heart, Shema, on pages 152 and 153. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod, Malachuto, Leolam Va'ed. And the end of our sandwich, we close off with the Ahavta et Adonai Elohecha.
Thank you. So you see, one thing flowed into the next, and Anita took a moment modeling how she says Shema. She covered her head with the talit, and we got to see what it meant to her. We got a moment, a peek into her prayer life, and that was very beautiful. Thank you. So if we had another 2 hours, we would go through the whole service just like this, trying to introduce the Torah portion, introduce all these different parts, do Kaddish, but you understand now the idea that you have to be very clear with people what you're doing, involve them, introduce them, look at them, look also at the camera because people see your face, and make sure that it's not just what's on the page, but how you got there and what this is, especially if you're doing something on a different page from what they're used to, and that it's a poem, say, a poem based on Hashkivenu, to emphasize the spiritual guidance that we receive, something like that. Okay, framing is important. Okay, let's see. I think everything else would flow pretty well, and the Gabbai, Yona would help, Joe would help, so that by the time you get to this part, you're kind of rolling. It's kind of easy. Just try not to say the words, now we're gonna. All right? Try to like erase that.
Or Shabbat Shalom in the middle of the service.
Yeah, try not to have Shabbat Shalom in the middle of the service. Somebody has a reading, they just go ahead with the reading. Somebody else comes up, they should just do it. And tell them don't say Shabbat Shalom in the middle. It's Sybil's idea, Sybil's honor. It's Sybil's responsibility. Once she does the announcements, she gets to say Shabbat Shalom. But otherwise, it's like you're in fourth gear and you're going, and suddenly you're going back to neutral and you're starting all over, kind of. But if somebody says it, don't stop them. It's just you should feel that that greeting doesn't need to be repeated and repeated all the time. All right. Any questions about how we prepared today or the materials that I've given you or anything else that you might need? I've tried to listen to all of your needs and to answer them.
I think it's helpful at the beginning to tell people who you are and to ask them to turn off their cell phones.
Okay, so introductions are important, like who is this? and to offer a greeting from me from afar, and I'll probably be watching.